And I will start by presenting NZRAS. So I am the chair of NZRAS. What is NZRAS? It's the New Zealand Robotics Automation and Sensing Network. It is a network of researchers, engineers, technologists, and students, and we all focus on the research on application of robotics, automation, and sensing technologies in industry and in the benefit of society. We plan to bring together all the parties of the New Zealand innovation ecosystem so as to facilitate advancement of the technologies and the science. And we connect not only universities, but also companies and industry organizations and government organizations. This is the website of NZRAS. If you visit this website, you will be able to find out more about NZRAS, the research that we do. And we also have a very comprehensive roadmap that presents what is happening in New Zealand in robotics automation and sensing. So this year, in November this year, we also organize ACRA 2024. ACRA is the Australasian Conference on Robotics and Automation. It will take place in the University of Auckland, in Auckland, New Zealand, from the 27th of November to the 29th of November of 2024. We have a lot of exciting talks from around the area, Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, and we welcome every and each one of you to participate, especially if you are in the region. More information can be found in the website of ACRA 2024. Now, today I will talk a little bit about the work that we do with one of the companies. Yeah, apologies for this. They have an announcement from the conference. I am attending a conference. I hope that the announcement is not very audible in your side. So today I will talk about a new era of robot skill learning and dexterity. I am the chair of NZRAS, but also director of the New Dexterity Research Group, associate professor at the University of Auckland, and CTO of Acumino. So I will talk a little bit about the work that we do with Acumino. Auckland and New Zealand in general has a very large ecosystem of robotic startups. I will present the work of Acumino today. I will have another opportunity to present more things from New Zealand in the next meetings. So, in industrial automation today, what is happening? We have robotics, we have automation that deliver value, deliver impact in logistics, in factories that manufacture cars, but in very limited cases. And if you see the tasks that robotics and automation execute, robotics and automation solutions execute today, they are simple tasks and in environments that are very, very structured. You can place tasks and inside cages, far away from humans. And when you are talking about programming of robots, the programming is inefficient and it is slow. You see the gentleman's face trying to program a robot, how bothered he is with all the complexity of programming a robot, or you see on the bottom left sophisticated interfaces and hardware that is needed in order to teach a robot how to execute a dexterous task. So automation and robotics in industry, they have very limited benefits. Robots in factories and warehouses, they do indeed incredible things. But we don't see robots in hospitals. We don't see robots in homes. We don't see robots in construction sites. And of course, we don't see robots in advanced manufacturing. The penetration of robotics and automation in industry worldwide is only 4 to 5%, depending on the country, of course. So we don't see the benefits that robotics can have. And we want to deliver these benefits and to help progress robotics in this direction. So the hardware is ready, but the dexterity and intelligence that are needed in order to deliver impact in industry and society, they are not ready yet. So what we believe that is happening is that we need human intelligence and expertise so as to teach robots how to be efficient in a world that has been designed for us, that has been designed for humans. And why we need that? Because worldwide, we have significant labor and skill shortages. We see this in Japan. We see this in many European countries. Of course, a lot of countries in Asia, they don't have this problem yet, but it's coming. And the labor and skill gaps, they are expected to impact economies worldwide and very, very significantly. According to the Boston Consulting Group, they expect a labor gap of 85 million by 2030. And this will lead to a lost GDP, worldwide GDP, of 10 trillion US dollars. So we're talking about a huge opportunity to deliver new robotics and automation solutions. And this is what we are trying to accomplish. If you go on LinkedIn every day, you hear a lot about AI, data, and the GPT moment of robotics that is near, and the advancement of robotics with new AI models that a lot of companies are working on. But the reality is that if you don't have good data for your models, you don't have good performance and good reliability of your robotic models. So a lot of people in robotics, they focus on simulations. And this is the work also of NVIDIA. NVIDIA has developed a lot of simulators and is doing a lot of work on simulating robotic actions, robotic interactions with the environment. And although NVIDIA is capable of executing very, very dexterous tasks in simulation, these tasks cannot be delivered in real life. So what is our focus? Our focus is to provide what we call a general robotic intelligence. And in order to do that, we need highly complex interaction data. We need data that encapsulate the physical interactions with the environment. For example, when I am fastening this lid on the bottle of water, I need to capture all the interactions of this task, the physics of the contact, the forces, the slipping, the rolling, the contact compliance. And we need with the data, the sophisticated and very accurate data, to develop next generation AI robot models. And we need what we call bimanual robot dexterity. We need dexterity that takes into account both arms, both hands, to execute tasks that are complex, that need the coordination of two arms and two hands. And you see here in simulation that NVIDIA can execute very, very complex tasks, but these tasks, they can only be done in simulation if you don't have accurate physical data from the real life, because you have what we call in robotics the sim to real gap. And this is the big bet of robotics today. How you go from the simulation where you are very, very successful to the reality where you are able to execute such complex tasks in real environments. So we have developed a completely new method that allows skill transfer between humans and robots that is very, very fast, very cost efficient, and very, very scalable. And it is many times faster and more cost efficient than the pendant-based teaching, the kinesthetic demonstration, and the teleoperation-based teaching. And it works by having the human in the loop and by accommodating the robots, the robotic grippers and hands, as end effectors of the human. So the human is wearing the robot hands and grippers and demonstrates the task to be done by the robot. We use augmented reality in order to do model validation and refinement, and we have what we call a hardware agnostic solution. So we can deploy the system with KUKA, Yoskawa, Fanuc, Universal Robots, any kind of robotic manipulator or robotic hand. So we have the human side, the human is demonstrating the task with a robotic gripper or hand, and the robot side. And the whole skill transfer is accomplished in just 1 minute. So in 1 minute, you can have all the data that you have collected, you train your model, and then you get the model deployed to the robot. Let me show you a little bit how it works in the skill recording side. In the skill recording side, we record the forces, the poses, the torques of the interactions, the complex phenomena of the interactions that encapsulate the slipping, the rolling, the contact compliance, the friction. And we populate the skill recording module. Of course, we understand also with pose estimation methods where the objects are in physical space. And essentially, after the skill refinement, we create a database of robotic skills that have been demonstrated by the human. In deployment, what happens? We have a task classification. This module allows us to understand in the world around us, what is the task to be executed? What is the trajectory that is needed for this particular task? Then we retrieve from the skill database the skill that we need for this particular task, and the vision system together with the perception module give us the new object pose. With that, we can derive desired poses, forces, and torques so as to send them to the control module. And the control is completely hardware agnostic. You can do it with a humanoid, you can do it with Universal Robots, KUKA, Yoskawa, Fanuc, all the different robot manufacturers. And you can do it with industrial robots or with humanoid robots. And we also record the edge cases. What are the edge cases? What went wrong? How does the robot fail? Why does the robot fail? And we try to iteratively improve the robot performance by focusing on what went wrong. And I know that I talk a lot when I discuss this, so let's see some videos in order to better understand what is happening. So here we have the human demonstrating the task of fastening a drill and then taking the drill bit and putting the drill bit inside the drill. And then the human presses the button of the drill so as to fasten the drill bit. Now, once we have demonstrated the task with the human, the task can be demonstrated by the robot. And the robot can again install the battery of the drill and then pick up the drill bit, install the drill bit, and once the drill bit has been installed, the robot can fasten the drill bit so as to operate the drill. So this kind of technology allows for very, very, very fast replication of the human skills in the robot level. Yeah. And then once you have a fully fastened drill, you can use it in order to drill something, to open a hole on a piece of wood. And let me show you another example. Here we have the human that tries to turn on a light lamp, and the light lamp doesn't turn on. So the human rotates the light lamp and tries to fasten the light bulb. And then after the fastening of the light bulb, the light turns on. So the robot can very, very easily replicate the task demonstrated by the human. And even when the pose of the lamp is in another location because of differences in dynamics between the human and the robot, the skill can be easily generalized to the new location of the light lamp. And because we demonstrate the skill with the human in the loop, we can even manipulate fragile objects like the light lamp. So you see that we can transfer to the robot very, very different skills. Skills that have to do with assembly or skills that have to do with manipulation of very fragile objects. And the common questions that we get is, okay, how does this allow us to improve the penetration of automation? How do we start automating? Where do we start automating? Because the human is in the loop and because the system is wearable, you can easily go to factories and collect big data of human skills. And then you can transfer these human skills to robots, and you can have, with all the data analysis that you perform after the data collection, a comprehensive roadmap on how to deploy complex robotic solutions that attack significant problems in the industrial automation setting, like robotic assembly, manufacturing, or material processing. And we do that using the model of robots as a service. The whole idea is to have a full system that has the robot hardware, the robot intelligence, and the factories that just use the robot as a service in their premise. Thank you so much. I always finish with a picture where I saw humanoid robots inside the houses, delivering gifts, preparing breakfast, restocking the fridge, ironing some clothes, or taking out the trash, or tidying up the room. Why? Because we are moving all together towards this future. The future where robotics delivers value, delivers impact, not only in industry, but also in society around us. We just believe that the first step is industrial automation. The first step is to increase the penetration of automation and robotics in factories. The first step is to remove humans from jobs that are dangerous, that are remote, that are tiring, that are boring. And we can use the humans in other things that are more creative. And the I don't think that we need AI for writing poetry or for creating movies or for creating art. I think that humans, we are great at this. We need AI to deliver value in industry. And then humans can have more time in order to write poetry or create art. Thank you so much, and I'm happy to take any questions.